This presentation is about sex trafficking and violence and could potentially be a trigger to some. Emma felt her mind slipping. Maybe if she just thought hard enough, she could die and stop this terrible thing from happening. She jammed her eyes shut tight. She at least didn't have to look at them. She felt the bed sag on the side where the man was. She knew he was coming and that she would not be able to stop him, no matter how she wished for insanity to come and stop her life. She felt the man moving over her right leg. She wanted to kick him. She wanted to kill him. She wanted to scream. She did. She screamed. Instantly, the woman slapped her head with the latex penis. Be quiet, little sweetums. There are no cops in this town, and I have an arrangement with the motel manager, so you can scream all you want, and nobody will help you. But if you insist on screaming each time you do, I will hurt you worse. So just don't do it. And remember, I have the gun with the silencer. So if you become too uncooperative, I'll just kill you. With the end of the woman's speech, Emma felt something wet between her legs, then something prodding inside her, then more wet. She felt the man crawling over her, then entering her. She gritted her teeth and jammed her eyes shut so tight she thought they would surely break. The man didn't take long to do his job, but as soon as he was done, the woman took over with the fake one. What was happening went on for 2 hours. First the man, then the woman, then the man, then the woman. Emma kept her eyes shut through it all and said not another thing. And finally the man said, "That's enough." It is estimated that over 50,000 people are sex trafficked into the United States each year. Over half of those active sex traffickers are only children, as young as 4 years old, threatened by their lives, their families, and their own families' lives. Roughly 94% of victims are girls. Victims' charges range from only $25 to $400, and they are forced to have 5 to 45 customers daily. James W. Nelson, Daughters by James W. Nelson only shows one story from one victim that is based on one very true, one very real event. That similar events have happened, are happening, and will continue to happen to thousands of people in the United States each day. "Oh yes, right," the woman said. "First, we're going to have a little training session." Training? Emma kept thinking of happier things, happy and fulfilling things that she had planned for her own future. But those happy thoughts would not long stay with her, and after those short-lived happy thoughts were gone, Emma was left with the wondering of how many young girls were forced to lie on the same urine-soaked mattress, now with the smell of her own urine added. Emma walked across the floor, reached the bed, and sat down, and received another slap. Then a push, and quickly both her hands were grabbed and handcuffs were slapped on both of her wrists. Fletcher, on one side of the bed, attached her left hand to the left bedpost, and the woman attached the right to the other. She was naked and could not cover herself. The thought horrified her. Then handcuffs were also attached to her ankles and attached to the lower bedpost, which spread her legs. This cannot be happening. But it was. When they arrived at their destination, she hoped the training would stop, and it didn't. The ordeal went on for another day and 2 nights with different men. The same woman stayed, gave orders, and guided some other young girls to degrade Emma as well. And if those girls didn't do as they were told, they were also punished. Emma opened her eyes and saw an angel with generous blonde hair backlit by one bright window. "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm Alexis, Emma, and I'm trapped here just like you, but I can be your friend if you want." "I want." "We're in a house not too far from Las Vegas. Some of us go to town every night to sleep with men, and sometimes women, who pay for us." "You're prostitutes?" "Not only us, Emma. You are too. You're going to receive your final training session. It's what some men want and pay well for. And today you will either be a high-paid, high-end prostitute or you won't. And in there, honey, I suggest you do exactly as you're told." When Emma left that building, it was already dark. Those men were so cruel, Alexis. How could they be so cruel? Have they never held a love child? Has a woman ever loved and held them? Even when they were children, did anybody ever love them? There were three. First, they all said what they wanted, while the others just watched. It became like a game to them. Sometimes they acted like innocent little boys, just trying something for the first time. Then they changed back into the cruel men that they are. Over and over and over. Alexis, they never stopped. They never asked if I was okay or if I wanted to rest. They just kept raping me. It was like a nightmare that you just couldn't wake up from. When they all finished, at least I thought they were finished. One just said, just stand there and let us look at you. I thought about covering myself, but a strong sob burst from her. She choked and buried her face in Alexis's front hair. So they just looked at me and began discussing who was going to do what during, as they put it, the finale. They just talked about my body as if the sobs burst forth again, strong ones. Emma could not stop them. Emma, you don't have to tell me anymore. I know what they did because they did it to all of us. They're college boys, right? They're always different boys. They're paid to come out here and do this to us, and they are required to ride in the back of the van too, so that they don't know where we are or how to find us. They use these young boys because they know college boys are not only horny, but full of it. They can go on and on with little rest. I don't really blame the boys, though, Emma. I mean, they're boys. They can't help themselves. And I know not all boys would do such a thing, but the fact remains, Emma. The boys who were out there today and all the boys before them, they all had a choice, and they chose to do what they did. The next day, at about 5 o'clock, the woman who had accompanied Fletcher during their trip from Montana arrived. The woman who had violated Emma worse than any of the men simply because she was a woman who should have protected Emma, but didn't. Emma decided she was not going to fight this woman, but someday she would. In the next minute, she removed every stitch of her clothing. The woman stopped her. Turn around, sweetums. Emma did as told. Oh, you were one beautiful little girl. I hope they didn't hurt you too bad yesterday. Did they? No. Good, because if you don't work out for our boy customers, I might just have to take you for myself. Your name is Trudy. Your date tonight is 56 years old. You will do anything he tells you to do. If you don't, he will tell us, and that will be bad news for you. Emma felt so small, so insignificant that she could run and jump through the window and kill herself, and nobody would even realize that she was gone. She had never in her life felt so low. Come here, sweetheart. The man reached inside his suit coat. Emma stopped staring. A knife appeared. Its blade flicked out with a loud click. Trudy, come here. The man's smile kept on. Come here. The man kept smiling. At least his face was twisted in such a way he must have thought was a smile, but it wasn't a smile. Emma knew she could not run from him. She could not escape. She might as well let him kill her if that's what he wanted. She approached him and waited. Oh, that's a good girl. The smile. The true smile was back. Lift up your dress. She obeyed. She lifted up her dress and waited. He dropped to his knees. His left hand gripped her right hip. Emma's eyes closed, but she saw the knife moving toward her. No use watching. He would shove it into her, and she would die. She would bleed all over herself and him and the floor, and she would die and be done with this awful life. She felt her panties being grabbed, then felt the cold blade on her upper leg, then a jerk, then another, then her panties left her. She felt the draft of air between her legs. She was naked. No more modesty, they said. She didn't care. She opened her eyes. The man remained there on his knees, looking at her. Maybe that's all he wanted, just to look at her. She could handle that. But she knew he would soon want more. And whatever he wanted, she would have to give him. Whatever the hell he wanted.